Well, what I'm playing with today is a Japanese Columbia fake. Now, what I mean by that is that it's simply labeled with the Columbia label, as you can see right there, but this was not something that was authorized by EMI or anything like that. From what I understand, the Japanese nationalized foreign businesses that were in Japan. I believe it was around 1937, 1938. This included a number of phonograph manufacturers, some of which were owned by EMI, which was the parent company of the gramophone company, HMV, and Columbia by this time. And they started making their own machines. You know, the Japanese government turned over management of these companies to Japanese citizens, and probably working for the government, and they started making the machines again, this time solely for the Japanese market, with various names on them, whatnot. Now, speed ahead to 1945, and there is no Japanese phonograph industry. There's no more Japan. It's just a bombed-out ruin. But the Japanese needed hard currency. They needed something they could sell so they could start to rebuild their economy, and one of those things were phonographs. They discovered that the occupying forces, American forces, loved portable phonographs, especially small light ones, records and all of that. So they saw an opportunity there, and they immediately scouted around to what was left of the bombed out manufacturing facilities, and they salvaged what they could. A little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe they got the tooling to make motors from this factory, the equipment to make cases and coverings from another, and so on, reproducers from a third. And they kind of put them all together in one kind of hodgepodge pile of, whatever. And they came up with this particular type of phonograph you see here. Basically, this one says Columbia 45, but you'll find similar Japanese-made machines in the same size and shape and configuration with all kinds of names on them. Just everything imaginable. I think I've even shown one other one on this channel a while back with yet a different name on them. So they always seem to have the same type of record hold-down bracket here, which actually kind of looks like a V for Victor. They use a button like this to open and close the case. The crank handles have this flat-shaped knob on the end, slot fit like that. Garage motor style that was used by Columbia is retained, made in Japan, because there is no markings on this to indicate English manufacturer whatsoever. And it's a close copy, not exact, but it is close. This one was serviced by me already, so a while back. Just never got around to playing with it. Fiber gear was retained, kind of a sandwich, a metal sandwich you see there, with fiber and aluminum, in this case. The reproducer is a Columbia style, similar sort of kinda Columbia style / Japanese style. Sometimes you find these things in 1,000 pieces because the pot metal that was used to put them together fell apart. This one I think is machined aluminum, so it's actually in good shape. There are no markings on it whatsoever, none. Not to indicate Japanese manufacturer, Columbia, or anybody in between. There's nothing on there. And it's an aluminum diaphragm, it's typical style. They all have a variation of this type of reproducer, all of these machines. This one's a little bit loose in the arm here. Not sure why, if that's intentional or not. I can tighten that up a bit using some more of that plumber's tape. It might be wear, it might just be poor manufacturing, or I don't know. This one had the auto stop. Don't remember if that works or not. I have to test it later. Same. Oh, of course, the horn. Kind of it's a metal horn, but it's sort of an abbreviated one. It's not very big, not very long. Kind of ends right there. Doesn't go looping around to come out here like it does with the HMV machines and so on. But it works. They all have a similar type. I've seen some of these with like paper type horn, press paper horns in there, stuff like that. They work. And you can see the box is your basic wooden box. Some oak there. Kind of surprising. I wonder where they salvaged that, because Japan is not known for a country that has a lot of oak. See, they actually used it on both sides, but not on the top and bottom now. Probably from some bombed out factory again. Now this, you can see here, they put tape on it to keep this closed. Somebody did 1,000 years ago, and it's lifted off some of the color, but not the actual covering. I have to see if I can fill that in with something. It opens all the way around, which is something that the HMVs, which this is obviously copied from, do not do. They just open to here, and they only have one compartment. This one has two. Don't think I'll be using those needles anytime soon, but, and it, you know, you can spin it completely around anywhere you want it. Pretty convenient, actually. It's actually a better design than the HMV because you can have two different types of needles in the same small box. Carry handle is still in really good shape on this, and it is obviously the HMV style handle, which was also used by the Columbias, by the way, because by the 1930s, Columbia, HMV, they were really the same machines with different reproducers. They weren't really that different. Columbia here too. And it's got little feet on the bottom there, little feet on the sides, and the release just like that. Case is reminiscent of some of the smaller Columbias. I got a little design there. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a snakeskin type of texture or not. Not really sure. Not a bad machine, and this definitely would have appealed to the average American GI, and it would not have been expensive, especially if greenbacks are being exchanged. So this was definitely affordable by the average private in 1946, 7, 8, or whenever they actually produced it. And these horn elbows here, as you see here, these are, well, that's actually 10, just right here. Is that wood? Oh, huh. Never even realized that. That's another piece of oak. Yep. This would have been actually pot metal on the Columbia machines, the actual Columbia machines. They were known for crumbling and cracking, and they are the bane of existence for anybody who plays with the Columbia portables of pretty much any era, which is one of the reasons I like to avoid them, because I know that these elbows, some of them are very fancy, and they're actually located on the other side. They raise and lower with the lid and all of that, and they are famous for just crumbling away and cracking, and it could be a real problem. And this feels like a look. I don't think that's brass. Well, maybe it is. Just thick. Just feels... No, it's metal. Let's put it that way. It is metal. It's chromed metal. They were safe with that assumption. And as you can see here, there's another, oops, interesting thing. This is the auto stop control, and it is in English, not Japanese, showing the target market very clearly. It was not the Japanese home market, it was the occupation market. I imagine there originally would have been a little sticker somewhere on this saying, made in occupied Japan. See here, they copied the HMV style clamp here to hold the handle on, yet they completely omitted the screw that would go there on the HMV. It's just not there. They didn't use it. I guess they didn't need it. You really don't, because they're pretty stiff metal. Same thing there. They copied the bracket exactly, but they did not bother with the screw. They left the screw hole in there anyway. A little bit crude workmanship there. Only imagine, you see, if you notice, that wood is actually quarter sawn, which is something that Victor was known for, that pattern in the wood. I'm betting anything that they probably looted that from a furniture factory or a more upscale phonograph factory that had been making really nice, you know, floor machines and stuff like that, and simply used the wood to construct these. It's too bad, because if the whole case had been made out of that, they could have left the cover off and just polished it up, and it would have looked very nice. But there you go, an initial look at a Japanese occupation era phonograph. The Columbia 45 is what it's actually labeled as, but I don't think I showed you that. There you see it right there. Very nice copy of the Columbia water decal there, though. Although they wouldn't have been using that particular decal at this time. And look how they left this as bare galvanized steel. Not even painted, just bare galvanized steel.